that the court has now given this verdict. What will the implications be for this, sir? Because it's a political war that breaks out. And also, what were the key arguments that were made by you that impressed the Supreme Court to call this particular order arbitrary and perverse?
First of all, Rhythm, let me tell you, there was not just me. There were 3 other senior counsel who all argued for the 12 MLAs. So it's not just me who would argue this matter. But coming to your main question, the very important aspect of this judgment is that it now puts a halt to legislative tyranny. It has limited the power of suspension on the part of a legislative assembly for breach of privilege, contempt, disorderly behavior, that you can only do it for the remainder of the session in which the order is passed. It can't go beyond that. Because, if this Maharashtra Legislative Assembly order was allowed to stand, it would lead to a very bad precedent. Every legislative assembly would, for the most minor of disorderly behaviors on the part of MLAs, they would, expel you for a long time, like they did in this case. I mean, almost 7 months have gone since this was done. So they put a limit to the period for which suspension can be imposed and therefore they've checked legislative tyranny by a majority.
In fact, sir, even when you were making the arguments, this point had been stated by you. Today, the government comes forward. Nawab Malik speaks for the Maharashtra government, and they are saying that even if they've thought this is unconstitutional and arbitrary, we are going to try and study it out. They are mulling their options despite the Supreme Court's order.
But, I am very unfortunate that anybody, right, should take this kind of attitude. But they have a right to look at the fine print of the order. I mean, that's certainly. But, the Supreme Court, in just the operative part, has said it all. I think they summarized the complete dismay which the court held this judgment to be, this resolution of the Legislative Assembly to be in. I mean, it was a most shocking resolution. My only regret is that it wasn't challenged much earlier.
Yes, I want to also ask you on one last point. Mr. Jethmalani, you had stressed in the court that prolonged suspension is even worse than expulsion, as the judges had pointed out the rights of the Constitution get affected. You also spoke about Article 194, subsection 3, as it existed before the 44th Amendment. All these things taken together, it shows that the powers to suspend a member as vested in the House, even of Commons, before the commencement of our Constitution was limited. And here they did take that power to be limited.
Yeah, so that exactly within the and what is shocking is that the Constitution says that there is an Article 208 that the House must prescribe rules for its procedure. Almost every legislative assembly, if not all, in this country, including the 2 houses of Parliament, have all framed rules governing their procedure and their conduct of business. And there is not a single legislative assembly that allows suspension beyond the period of the breach or the order in which a resolution is passed by the House for contempt or breach of privilege. There is not a single legislative assembly. This is unprecedented action, and it's contrary to their own rules governing their conduct of their business. As contemplated by Article 208, these are rules framed under the Constitution of India, and they are still being violated. They themselves, if the highest legislative body of this country breaches its own rules framed under the Constitution, the situation is extremely pathetic. It is most unfortunate.
Yes, absolutely. And therefore, this victory becomes extremely significant. Mr. Jethmalani, politically, how do you think it's going to play out? Several MLAs now say there should be president's rule in Maharashtra.
Look, the politics can be left to others. I am very happy that the Supreme Court, in its wisdom, has laid down, has passed a very salutary judgment on a very important question, because this prevents legislative tyranny in houses of parliaments and legislatures.
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. You get the last word, because this was very well fought in the Supreme Court by you. Thank you for being with us. We'd love to have you after the order is out sometime in the evening, sir. And the larger point that Mr. Jethmalani is